Hello, everyone. Welcome to WHW, where we learn what, how, and why of tech and business. This is a community where everyone can learn and share their knowledge with others. I am Ashish, and we have Abhirami with us here today. Uh, Abhirami is a partner technology strategist with Microsoft, just like myself. And we are going to talk about ChatGPT and GPT models today.
Hello, Ashish. Thanks for having me here. Hello, everybody who are part of this session. Thanks, Ashish, for this opportunity.
So welcome, Abhirami. So obviously, we are going to talk about ChatGPT and GPT models today, right? But let me ask you this question first. So GPT-4, went to the party, but no one actually wanted to have a conversation with GPT-4. Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because when people went to talk to GPT-4, it just kept on predicting what they're going to say next.
Oh, wow. That's a nice joke, Ashish.
Yeah, I think that was a generous reaction, but good thing, that comedy was not my calling. Um, but for people who probably, are new to GPT-4 and this stuff, let me just explain, right? So the GPT-4 as a model is a transformer-based language model, right? And the transformer machine learning architecture is something that was designed to handle uh, sequence data like text, so that it was able to predict the next word in a sentence. So I think that's what that joke was about. Um, so more background on this. So, and I think we are also going to talk to Abhirami more about what the capabilities of these GPT models. There's a lot of hype going on, right? Just before that, just wanted to give an intro about this, right? So GPT-3, 3.5, and GPT-4 are the models that were trained on a really vast amount of text data and in multiple languages. So as a result, uh, these models are capable of generating text that is contextually relevant, grammatically correct, sounds very coherent over long passages of data, and it is virtually indistinguishable from something that a person would create. And you would have heard these stories about people using ChatGPT to write better emails, also their performance reviews. So you can of course do that, but there are more things that we can do with these models. Um, and all of that makes it sound like a magic bullet, of course, right? And that's why we have Abhirami here, who is our go-to person for all things data and AI. So Abhirami, tell us about what's the big deal about ChatGPT and GPT-4 and all that stuff. Help us demystify that, please.
Sure, Ashish, and thanks for the question. This definitely requires demystifying. And as you rightly said, this is a buzzword and it's out there everywhere. Every person is talking about ChatGPT. Everybody is talking about GPT models. You're seeing news all around about ChatGPT coming in, how it is transforming lives, transforming businesses, automating and making experiences better. Of course, as you said, the art of the possible is limitless. Every day we are seeing great new ideas coming out of partners and organizations trying to build on top of these models to solve real world problems. Taking two steps back under the umbrella of OpenAI itself, right? We have GPT, we have ChatGPT now, and then there are other models like DALI and Codex as well. Now, DALI, as we all know, is able to take visual inputs and able to provide creative ideas out of that visual inputs. And then Codex itself is nothing but NLP input and code output, or vice versa, right? So a lot of transformations happening there as well. Talking very specifically about ChatGPT model, which is the model in which you have a chat interface, which is able to understand the context, understand the preceding questions, and in context of that, able to respond, which is surpassing human abilities, right? It's able to understand natural languages in the manner a human would and provide the responses with complex summarizations, context understanding, sentiment analysis, so on and so forth. Yeah, that's right. So there are use cases like call center use cases where we are talking about OpenAI, which is GPT model taking over a call center agent's mundane work, or it could be complex technical specification documents or legal documents that are getting summarized and context understood, right? So all this is happening and it is for real as me, Abhirami, talking to Ashish right now as a human being. Tomorrow, Ashish could be hosting a chat GPT, a robot who is talking to him.
Yeah, of course, that is definitely possible, and I think people have been trying to do that. Um, so yeah, so I think the next question, is going to be, what are the tasks that we can accomplish using these models?
Sure. So, Ashish, yes, you're right. Everybody is wanting to solve every world problem with OpenAI. It does to a large extent, but let's see what those broad capabilities are. What kind of tasks can we fulfill with the foundation model, which is the underlying model behind all these OpenAI, ChatGPT, Cortex models, so on and so forth. And let's also talk about capabilities in terms of models that are available out there that can be used. And and finally, let me also talk you through how it is now easy for developers to kind of plug and play all of this model into their canvases of their choice. Right, at a broad level, foundation model, like I said, can take text, images, speech, structured, 3D signal, all kind of inputs. And what it does as a task is it can ask question and answers. It can answer the questions that come in. There can be sentiment analysis, image captioning, object recognition, code generation, code understanding, so on and so forth. So the things that we just covered in the earlier discussion.
So I think we had this capabilities in one way or another before as well. But I think the greatest innovation that is coming forth now is the ability of these models to remain contextual, right? So we don't really have to do something else about it. The model already maintains the context to some extent. So I think that's a great thing about this thing.
Absolutely. So context being one, the other is the trillions and billions of data that it has been trained on, the number of parameters it has been trained on to make it pretty much a pre-built model to plug and play. With a little bit of fine tuning, you can get started with any kind of sentiment analysis summarization for that matter, right? In earlier days, the model used to be trained with huge data, which may or may not exist within the organization. So yes, those are definitely the benefits. So let's talk about the capabilities under the various models of OpenAI service. I've put up GPT-3 here, but we all know that we also have GPT-4. We'll talk about that in a bit. So GPT-3, as I call it, the ABCD model or the capabilities, Ada, Babbage, Curie, and Da Vinci. The Da Vinci is the most capable one. If you're looking at complex summarization, complex text summarization, or generating creative content out of complex text, we can look at Da Vinci. So Curie in specific kind of solves for complex classification questions or answering questions that are of complex nature. Babbage is fairly simpler as compared to Curie. It can look at semantic searches, moderately complex classifications, and very simple classification. If you're wanting to do that, then ADA is the one. Of course, the token size differs. If we look at GPT-4, the number of tokens are higher than this. And under the GPT-4, you have the turbo model and you have the GPT-4 itself, which kind of gives you the conversational or a chat interface like experience to the end user, where the context is understood and preceding questions are also understood and responded. Now, Codex, the other model, what it does is kind of converts the natural language into a kind of code. It could be Python or any other bunch of code that are already available, trained on GitHub repositories and natural languages. This code with DaVinci has the highest capability, and then the Cushman Codex, right? So DALI, another model that we spoke about, can take visual input and provide creative content out of those visual NLP inputs that are provided by the end users.
Right. And I think the GitHub Copilot is something that probably already showcases the codex capabilities of these models, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. So even before the Codex became open for everybody to use, Codex was the underlying model behind the GitHub Copilot, and that's doing a great job out there.
Great. I think this is amazing, Abhirami. Thanks for sharing this information with us. We are going to talk more about in the next episode. In the meantime, connect with us on LinkedIn. Share your comments, feedback, and let us know what are the use cases that you think you would want to do with the GPT models. Until then, stay safe and keep learning.
Thank you so much.